Everyone, this is Daily Chess, and I'm recording this video for the Staunton chess group on chess.com. That's my first contribution to the group officially, and I would like to share a game with you which I played on ICC, the Internet Chess Club. Despite being a blitz, I think it was, well, a nice display of the initiative, which you should always strive for. Having initiative means that you direct the game. You should simply show your opponent, I want you to play this and this. You have to react them according to my plans, and you don't have time for your own plans. And in this very game we will see this topic, and I hope it will be instructive, and yeah, you will have some fun watching it. Okay, let's see. C5. I switched, or not switched, I added this move a few days ago to my repertoire. Before, I mainly used to play the Petrov defense, for instance, which I score very well with. Or let's go back, knight c6, which is the open defense. And for instance, on the Spanish, the Ruy Lopez, I play f5, also rather sharp line. Black's taking some risks, opening a king's position here, especially with those squares here. But it leads to quite nice play. Okay, c5. Oops, c5 is now maybe becoming the main line. Okay, d4. This move can usually lead to your so-called Mora gambit. I take knight f3. The Mora gambit goes with c3, and you can either accept it, or you can simply play knight f6, which is my main line, leading to some kind of a Lapin variation, the Lapin Sicilian. Now, for instance, after e6, you usually develop like this, d6. Sometimes this bishop can go to b4 to check, and then to pursue your development. Otherwise, we simply play d6, break up the pawn center, and usually white allows an exchange on e5, which leaves this pawn rather weak, especially if you can't support it with f4 anymore. So it's also quite interesting. But at knight f3, I thought, okay, this might very likely lead to the main line. I go with d6, knight takes, knight f6, and knight c3. So by a move transposition we reached the main line of the Sicilian, the so-called open Sicilian. And here are many moves in your very different systems. I mean, here's the dragon, for instance. Bishop going to g7. You can also play the famous knight of variation, a favorite of Kasparov, Fischer, and also Anand, the current reigning world champion. You can, instead of a6, you can also go for this so-called small center here. Again, not necessarily this pawn, which is the so-called Scheveningen. Also, one of the most instructive Sicilians. If you start with the Sicilian, I would recommend you either to play the Scheveningen, because you have this typical structure, and it's very instructive to know some typical motives and ideas and plans before going for wild lines like the dragon, the a6 loves, or the knight off, and so on. I will maybe name them for you. Name variation. That's the dragon. I would say the dragon is nothing for beginners. That you have to know tons of theory. I would stick to the Scheveningen, or as I play, the so-called classical variation. Those are the main systems in the d6 Sicilian. And the classical variation is also very easy to play in a way. I mean, you avoid certainly you avoid the so-called English attack, which is usually with bishop e3, f3, g4, h4, and this pawn storm on the king side, because you're better developed. You have more control over the center. And let's check this line. I mean, it's nothing dramatic here. For instance, e5, go back. And now we can simply, sorry, not yet, pardon. first go bishop e6, and okay, anything as with g4 is not possible, we simply take it out. So f3, and now we can even play d5. Take, threatening the bishop, so exchanging everything. And I would say this position is more or less playable for black. I did not face any serious problems recently. Maybe this bishop's position is not very stable, and maybe with long cast we can generate some pressure. But I think it's okay for black. If we go there, okay. There are several systems. First of all, this Boleslavsky variation. It's a more positional line. I mean, once black plays a6 and prepares this typical b5 push, white can play a4, stopping it. We have the main line, the Richter-Rauser variation, where my recommendation is Dre's favorite move of bishop d7, preparing rook c8, queen a5, of course also hitting this bishop here, and then planning an exchange there, and sometimes an exchange sacrifice on c3. A very sharp line. There is, yeah, let's go for them. Maybe one of the most aggressive, the so-called Sozen variation. Here, if black continues with e6, we usually get to the so-called Sozen system, and it divides into some branches. But I don't think it's necessary to learn all this. There's a maybe more interesting line, and maybe a more offbeat line, which is the so-called Benko variation of the Sozen. Yeah, it was I think even first introduced somewhere in the 70s or 60s, I'm not quite sure, by Paul Benko itself. And I don't know, it put some pressure on these two pieces here. I mean, okay, right now we simply threaten to win the pawn, to win the knight here. If bishop e3, you can go for this. I mean, it's risky because the Sicilian usually lack in development, and we only have two pieces developed, while the opponent, after cancel, cannot right now, but if he cancels, he can, he's simply way up in development, and it might be a bit dangerous for us. But yeah, one of the lines which I face quite often in Blitz, especially, is knight takes c6. This move was brought back by Topanov some time ago. It was thought to be rather harmless for black, but it shows some dangers, especially ruining the pawn structure and then attacking the weaknesses. But we will see this later on. Okay, it's important to play b takes c6 because this allows a nasty pin. And due to this, the game will finish rather quickly. Simply wins the queen. So b takes c is important. Now, it's certainly in a way a critical position. I mean, the pawn structure changed, and well, what did we got? Okay, we have let's say we exchanged a couple of knights, and I have made an isolated pawn here, which might be weak in a pure rank game. But otherwise it's also quite useful, and I can play a5, a4, maybe here even to a3, and once he plays this, all the squares here might be weak. On the other hand, I have an idea to exchange off this bishop here to reduce his attacking potential, because this bishop is a bit annoying here, and especially with f4, f5 coming, this pawn center here, which I am planning to build, might be a bit shaky. So yeah, that's one of the plans, playing bishop a6. And on the other hand, okay, you can choose between e5 or e6. e5 is quite okay because in general, if you place your pawn here, you have this weakness on d5. But as we exchange our pawns here, this square is actually covered, so it might benefit us. But on the other hand, if you play e5, he's very quick in cancelling, and f4 comes immediately hitting this pawn. So in a way, he's a move up if he plans to attack us, and I'm not quite sure if this is what we want to get. I mean, I did not analyze this line in deep. I just have a common knowledge of the theory right now because I just studied it maybe one night or 2 nights now, and it might give better conclusions, I don't know, let's say in a month or something like this. So okay, let's go back to this now. Castle e6. I chose this line. Bishop b3. Bishop b3 because otherwise, okay, if he goes bishop e3 immediately, I can take this pawn here, and I'm not quite sure if you have enough compensation for it. So bishop b3, bishop e7, bishop e3 comes, now that the square is protected. Okay, in the banker variation you usually have to pay the price that the queen on b6 is not permanently active. I mean, she was quite active here. In a way, we have the initiative. I mean, we threaten the knight, and he has to move somehow. He cannot cancel. He cannot play, I don't know, any other move. So he has to do something about it. So we have the initiative. We force him to play. Otherwise, he would simply want to cancel, play f4, f5, and so on. But here, let's go back here. The initiative changes a bit. First of all, black had the initiative when he played queen b6, but the initiative is nothing. Usually, it's nothing long term. I mean, it can switch from one player to the other, and sometimes it's always better to have the initiative because the opponent isn't able to play his game he wants to play, and usually I also have to sacrifice some pawns and maybe some more material to obtain the initiative, otherwise you get squeezed. But here the bishop on e3 is also rather vulnerable, so it's once again temporary initiative. I mean, okay, he's hitting it, and okay, that's my email problem. Queen d7, c7, f4. So here it comes. He's planning either to play f5 because the small center, the weakest spot is actually e6 square. If he attacks it and exchanges here, this pawn will be forever weak, and this is something that's very dangerous. But with f4 he also loses a bit the control over this e3 square and the bishop itself. And okay, I thought, okay, casting is quite okay right now. I'm just planning to play d5 and use my extra pawn to get a slight edge in the center. Queen e2. And I thought, okay, this looks horrible. It was played before, but it just looks ugly. The main reason being that this lineup here is potentially weak. And now I played an improvement which even the Indians support, and they like the move a5. The idea is not so much, but also partly, to play a4. Not now, because it would just be a pawn sacrifice, but later on might be an option, because this bishop somewhat lacks squares, especially if d5 here stands. This bishop here does not have many squares left, so it might come in handy. And my opponent did not react properly on this. He played a4. a4 is, in a way, positionally bad. I mean, it's not so much that this pawn might be a bit exposed right now and placing the pawn on color of the bishop here, but more or less it weakens this this square, and I don't like it. I mean, he's simply allowing me to get the initiative. I mean, let's say here it starts. From now on, I only dictate the game. I show him, I don't know how to say. I force him to move according to my own plans. Let's put it like this. Bishop c4. Otherwise, I win the exchange. So he has to react to it. Okay, after b8. Once again, he has to react, hitting the pawn here. d3. Probably imprecise, I would say, because there are better ways to protect the pawn. For instance, there would be, I don't know if this is necessary, but otherwise rook a to b1 is okay. I would say I wouldn't have get such an attack I got here in the game if you would play this. Rook b4, once again hitting the queen, so he has to react, otherwise he loses it. And the queen does not have many squares. I mean, if he goes there, I can simply go this and take. The problem being that this tactical trick here, the discovered attack, does not work. I can either play this, or I can simply take it with check, and I'm better, and I'm winning. Okay, queen d3, protecting the pawn, knight g4. You might ask, why knight g4, why isn't it so dangerous? I would say the danger here lies not in material gains. It's more like obtaining the better piece. I mean, if I am allowed to exchange off this this bishop, I place my bishop on this powerful diagonal, and it's very ugly to play with such a piece. I mean, it's not fun. I would say it's not fun. For instance, let me add a move. Even there, my initiative would probably prevail. Insert here. Let's say I can take, and play this. Okay, the queen cannot move because this knight would hang, and the knight cannot move because the rook. I would simply win the exchange. Let's put it like this. On the other hand, I'm threatening to play bishop d4. So you see, it's not that easy to get rid of it. I mean, even if you place this, I have two ways of continuing to play. I can either play c5, just threatening this, or maybe a more radical solution, just taking. You take, I distract the defender and win the pawn. I play c5, d5, winning. Okay, so he has to do something about it, and he played bishop d2. There's one major drawback of this very move. Let's see if you can. Okay, if you didn't read already in the invitation, this diagonal now is free, and I can play queen a7 check. Queen b6 probably is the same. It doesn't matter. I think. Okay, king h1 is no way forced. Otherwise, rook f2 simply take it out. Knight f2, a fork, has to take, queen takes. Okay, I'm material up, I'm an exchange up, and okay, my biggest problem here maybe is that my queen is not very well placed. As it often happens, if you win material, your pieces were pointing at one square, usually the material, the square the material was before, and once you win a material, your pieces are in general not very well placed for further actions, and you have to regroup them. I think the most annoying might have been this. I'm not sure. Rook f1. I mean, he gets some initiative. It's probably okay. I mean, it's still exchange up, but he gets something now. I have to be careful because let's say something like queen b3. You always have this discovered attacks here on this rook. I guess even bishop e3 would be okay. Hitting the queen again. No, I don't think there's anything you can play for, but it's in a practical game you have to be patient. Cautious about, especially in a blitz game with I think 3 minutes. I'm sure. Let me see. Yeah, 3 minutes. It's not easy. You have to put. You have to choose counter best practical chances. Okay, he played knight d1. Seeing a last trick, he discovered and hits my queen. But I have a powerful resource, which I was happy because I don't think I even saw it in the game because I was rather low on time here. Queen d4. And that's why I think rook a to b1 was better early on. Okay. Well, he took, and I have to take the rook, so the material is balanced. He has several problems. You cannot take there. I think I can simply play this. And no, he has some problems. Okay, I can of course try to protect it, but I can probably just go there, hit the pawn. Yeah, can only protect it that way. Go there. Next move is queen takes and pressure on the square. I think it's just winning. Well, bishop c3. Okay, hitting the queen. Queen goes there, and maybe last try is to build up some mating threats against g7. But bishop f6 once again, initiative. e5, hitting the queen, initiative. Going back. Rook d8, initiative. Threatening mate. If he doesn't protect the knight, so he has to go back. Queen c1, once again initiative. He cannot take because I take here and win the queen. He has to move. I take this one. Once again, material gain and initiative. I hit the bishop. He exchanges it off. And now, okay, I simply collect the material, and in the end, I won. Okay, in this case, he just blundered. He lost the control over the square d1. After this, no further checks were there, and with a final double attack, I won his remaining piece and won the game. I was in between these pawns here and deliver mate. Okay, I hope you liked this video, this short introduction to the classical variation of the Sicilian. I hope you saw some ideas and some potential, I'll say potential advantages of this variation compared to neither or other lines. Yeah, if you have any questions about this particular variation, I think I can upload some more clips. And if you have anything you want to know, just write in the forum, and I will try to reply as soon as possible. Okay, thank you for watching, and yeah, check out my site maybe on YouTube, dailychess.org. I moved from Daily Chess TV, and my website www.dailychess.org. Would be nice if you leave a comment or something like this. I have tons of book reviews published twice a week, so yeah, just check it out and maybe subscribe there. Thank you very much, and see you.